I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where once again it'll be the stars and cars of the U.S. Open Wheel Doubleheader, kicking things off with the Indy Pro 2000 Series Championship for the C-Class cars. My name is Chris Graham, joined as always in the booth by Mr. James Watson and Mr. Patrick Byrne. And I tell you what, boys, James, we'll come to you first on this one. I love Sebring. The racing is always just silly in these cars.
It's one of those quintessential circuits, you know, like it's one of the greatest tracks in the world. Like it's perfect as an endurance track because it tests so much of the car with all the bumps, the high speed corners, the straightaways, fair amount of low speed corners. Like it's a pain to set up for because you have to have the balance so good at so many different things. And it's a lot harder with these cars because if there's ever a draft lock circuit, it's this one. So watching them go through Sunset can get pretty incredible.
Well, yeah, and Bizzle, one split on this race here tonight. 24 cars on the entry list. iRatings ranging from Ted Burns 69.44 to the 24 of Aaron Fitzsimmons entering this race with a 284 iRating. This has the potential for chaos, carnage, insanity, and everything in between.
Yeah, this is going to be a really, really fun race. You're going to have guys like Carter Lundy at the front of this field, and then you've got some guys since didn't split who are still very new to iRacing, very low iRatings. This is an entry-level series after all, so could be some lap traffic getting in the mix, and this is a very difficult track to be a back marker just because there's not a lot of places to make the move easy for the leaders.
Yeah, out of 24 cars, fully 1/4 of the field has made an iRating donation of some sort. Everybody starts at 1,500. You work your way up or down based on how you finish in these official races. So the guys at the front, like Ted Burns, Carter Lundy, Everett Paddock, Nicholas Daly, all over 5,000 iRating. Burns and Lundy well over 6,000 iRating. That really starts to get into pretty crazy territory because we're going to see these guys not only battling each other, James, but having to possibly fight some lap traffic too.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, if there's any circuit to have a race like this, it's this one because you have a lot of space to try to get past the lap traffic, and you have a lot of distance to where it shouldn't really be that much of a problem. Like, they may catch the last car or two, but you're not really going to have to worry about it that much. You know, the likelihood of them being that obscenely off pace is not likely, so it shouldn't be too much of a factor. Now, if this was Summit, however, yeah, boy.
Yeah, so it looks like almost everybody is out on the racetrack right now. 22 of the 24 cars, Michelle Voles and Michael Davis, are not on the racetrack as of yet. But everybody else is out turning their qualification laps. Carter Lundy, Everett Paddock, Nicholas Daly, Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, the law firm of the top 5 drivers that are on their first flying lap. Ted Burns has not yet started flying lap number 1. But we can expect that he will be doing so here pretty darn shortly. And This was one of the racetracks last season that we saw one of those thousandth of a second finishes between Carter Lundy and David Porcelli. I don't remember if it was this race or the USFs, but you can run close here, especially with how talented everybody is at the front, Bizzle.
Yeah, you basically, through this section of the track, I call it the fish. It's the club circuit. You're kind of stuck there running nose to tail, not a lot of passing opportunities, very narrow racetrack. It's kind of forced the guy into making a mistake. And then you come down this monster of a back straightaway as we're onto the national part of the full international circuit. It's huge drafts, huge runs, almost like an oval race. And then you come into the wonderful turn 17, which is way wide. You get the car way out there, super sideways, plenty of room to dive to the inside, make the move, but it does tighten up on exit. You got to really be there and fully committed, or it's very easy to make contact with another car, or find yourself in that outside wall going down the front straightaway.
Well, Carter Lundy goes quick time, 1 minute 54.519. Mobin Khan second quick, 0.4 of a second back. Brian Labarge third quick, good qualification run for Brian, and he's going to be an interesting part of the championship discussion that we'll get to in a little bit here. But now Nicholas Daly hopping in just under 0.2 of a second back of Carter Lundy as lap number 1 is complete. Ted Burge just now working hot lap number 1. Good lap from Jason Miller in the 11. 155.579. That's going to put him up into the 5th position. Just waiting to see what lap number 2 looks like, because, James, I know that as the weather conditions change a little bit, you get a little bit of heat in the tires, likely to see a faster lap time. It's just really a matter of how much do you improve.
Yeah, I mean, we all know how difficult this car is to drive on cold tires, especially with the lack of grip on the front end. So I feel like you're going to go pretty decently quicker, because there are a lot of high-speed key corners like Sunset, the next last corner. So having that extra grip on the second lap, especially coming onto those off of those corners with such big straightaways, that it's going to be giving you a pretty good speed advantage coming off.
Lap number 2 for Carter Lundy, even faster, 1 minute 54.242. Let's pick up with the number 1 of Ted Burns. He is 4th quick at the moment, carrying the number 1 for Downforce Racing. Lap 1 was 0.7 of a second off of what is now Lundy's best time, as Everett Paddock moves himself up to the 2nd position, 154.558. Still about 0.3 off of Lundy's quick time. The big thing to note, though, 0.3, 0.4, that's not enough to break the draft. You're not going to do it on outright pace here. Seeing Kenneth checking in the comments here. Is that a Mr. Watson announcing? Hi, friends. What's going on, buddy? Hope
That it is. Hi,
Yeah.
Kenny.
He's here. Lap number 2 for Ted Burns does not improve. 1 minute 55.037. Let's pick up Ben Carswell, who is currently working lap number 2. Little disappointing that we don't have a Jimmy Johnson Hall of Fame scheme on Ben Carswell's vehicle here tonight.
Right?
I expected more from you, Ben.
Seriously. Silver with like a gold 48 or something.
And boom, confetti.
I have that on a soundboard somewhere.
All Qualifications are over. Carswell does not get the second lap scored. Tough break there for Ben. He is going to line up in position number 18 here this evening. We've got a bunch of cars on the grid, so we're going to have to get to this one pretty darn quick here. Let's bring up our starting lineup for tonight's race. 13 laps here around Sebring International Raceway. And starting on the pole, well, that's not the right car. There we go. Starting on the pole will be the number 2 of Carter Lundy with a lap time of 1 minute 54.242. Lining up alongside will be the number 3 of Everett Paddock. Row 2 will have a couple of downforce racing entries piloted by Nicholas Daly and Ted Burns. Row number 3 will have Mobin Khan and current series points leader Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, the law firm putting up a great season thus far in 30 starts, 16 wins, and 23 top 5s for pilot number 5. Row 4 will have the 11 of Jason Miller and the Penske PPG Shell V-Power. Number 11 lining up alongside of the number 6 of Brian Molitor. Mike Holler in the number 10 Citizens Climate Lobby entry, lining up alongside of the NASA Meatball of Brian Labarge, currently sitting second overall in the points. Maybe not wholly accurate, though, and we'll talk about that a little bit as the race goes on. Row number 6 will have the 13 TNT Shock Series of Simon Fell. The Shock Series making its triumphant return here to the NRN airwaves in just a handful of weeks. You'll want to keep your eye out for that one. Lining up alongside of the multi-time champion of the TNT Shock Series, the number 12 of West Shire and the Homestead Coffee Roasters Tale from Rukon, number 12. Row number 7 will be the T. Watson Racing Setups National Racing Network, number 16, and the AJ Camargo. Lining up next to the Philadelphia Flyers Gritty Mobile, a Rod Eskew. That is a beautiful paint scheme, Rod. Well done. Joseph Heath in the familiar yellow Submarine with the Danny Ricciardo Dale Earnhardt tribute helmet on the inside of row number 8. And to his outside will be the 17 of Richard Franco. Row 9, the Napa Auto Parts colors of Jason Paydu, lining up alongside of the Team Watson Racing Setups National Racing Network entry of Ben Carswell. Row number 10, I can't tell what the sponsor of that one is. On the side of the 15 of Joel Rafael Silva Lopez, lining up alongside of the Molecule, number 21 of Robert Drew. Row 11, Keenan Blades in the 19 and Aaron Fitzsimmons in the 24. Yes, those times are right. 5 and 6 seconds off the pace. Leaders are going to hit lap traffic here this evening, at least very likely to. The HMD 22 of Michelle Voles lining up alongside the Hooters, number 23 of Michael Davis on the final row. Neither of those cars electing to take a time in qualifications. I haven't been to Hooters in forever. Actually, I think the last time was with you down in Florida, Bizzle.
No, you went after we went down there. You went and almost raced a rental car before the wife said no.
That's right. God, that was a fun weekend. Those Cletus McFarland shows were fun to work, fun to hang out at.
I need to get down there and get to one as a spectator, because I really just want to see that racetrack when it's got cars on it instead of looking at it behind a screen.
Yeah, Bizzle was locked up in the hole cutting replays for the live streams down there. I had freedom of movement. He most certainly did not.
I got to watch some of the practices and testing, though.
Yeah, we had...
It Corvette sounded like a jet fighter. Holy crap.
Wait, the Corvette or the Camaro? The
The first time we were down there, it was
Australia.
Bumblebee we got to watch on the Thursday there. And the second time, he had that white Corvette. I forget what the name for that thing is, but holy crap,
That's
it sounded
his
like a jet
Corvette.
fighter going down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome. It was fantastic.
I was standing there right at the opening of the gate, up in turn number 3, like inches away from this car, and holy crap. So cool.
Ken checking in saying, let's go, Ben.
Oh, Carter Lundy, almost Watson's, almost into the side of Everett Paddock.
Wow.
That would have been something.
I
don't
don't
wreck
spin
when
when
I
I
do
do this. Fields off the final corner. Green flags in the air. We're underway. Good jump for Carter Lundy down towards turn number 1. See if the Fields can be able to make it through. Oh, man, Hazelworth almost into the back of Burns. Big slide wide for Nicholas Daly. That's going to bottle things up. Burns gets a great run up the inside of Everett Paddock. He's going to go 2 for 1. Alexander Wesley Hazelworth sort of battling there with Brian Molitor. Early fights going on here. Burns and Daly going to be battling for position number 2. Oh, Hazelworth runs a little bit wide. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. May have some cars really slow towards the back of the pack. Doesn't look like... Oh, and Jason Miller goes around.
Oh, that's such a shame, too. It's a heck of a qualifying effort.
Oh,
from
and
him.
Ben Carswell's off. Ben Carswell goes for a spin, knocks the rear wing off the car. Ben, hopefully you're listening to the broadcast. Get to pit lane. Now your top 5 have absolutely pulled away. Lundy, Burns, Daly, Paddock, and Kahn, first time onto the back stretch. It's 1.5 seconds between Kahn and Hazelworth. Hazelworth may have to hope for a little bit of help here to get caught back up into the draft. Burns looks outside. And Teddy B again having the look outside. He wants the race lead into turn number 1. Are these two just going to go an entire lap side by side? Almost. Burns has to
Probably.
slot back in.
Lundy can make the dive into the sharp corner at the end of this straightaway, though. What's that, turn number 6?
Maybe?
Let's get a track map up. So I can sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but it's just a map. It doesn't have numbers. And that would
I
rely
can
on
count.
you being able to count.
Ah, it's called the hairpin turn.
Oh. There you go. Oh, Lundy's right there. Makes the big dive. Has to grab the binders. Oh, that's going to give Nick Daly a chance to come past. What a fight here at the front.
Oh, man.
God, that was so tight. Ben Carswell did make it back to pit lane, but actually had to take the tow, already sitting in the box for 1 minute and 55 seconds. Tough break for Carswell. He is going to be out of this one early.
Yeah, he was talking about how he had lost a lot of road iRating, and unfortunately it sounds like that's going to continue.
Yeah, he's going to make a pretty big donation tonight. As Alexander Wesley Hazelworth sets a new fastest lap of the race. Everett Paddock gets around Mobin Khan. The gap's down to 1.1 seconds. Daly gets a little bit off track. Man, Carter Lundy's starting to look a little bit impatient back here. Trying to make the move outside.
Oh man, Lundy with good deal of counter steer coming through the hairpin.
It's a gutsy place to try to start the pass. Problem is he's still going to be on the outside. Oh man, Everett Paddock right there too.
Oh man.
Lundy able to get past. Paddock almost making contact with Daly. And all this dueling has brought Alexander Wesley Hazelworth back into this. Hazelworth has scored points this week already, sitting on 939 points with 8 weeks counted. Brian Labarge actually sitting second in points at 832, so 107 back, also with 8 weeks counted. Where it starts to get interesting, Nicholas Daly is third in points, sitting on 804, but he only has 6 weeks counted. Same for Everett Paddock in fourth, Carter Lundy in fifth, only 6 weeks counted. The long and short is you kind of don't know where everybody stands in the points until we start hitting the drop weeks. Once everybody gets to 8 weeks completed, then we'll have a really good idea of who's going to be where.
Yeah, that's the fun thing, is it's anyone's guess on how the championship is going to go. Like, how's that for dramatic television?
The problem is we can't crown a champion at the end of the season, though. You still have more racing to get done. I mean, you're going to be pretty close. Usually, you know.
We just have to wait a little bit. It's fine. A couple minutes.
U.S. Open Wheel Series, where the rules are made up and the points don't matter.
Exactly.
Hey, there was a TV show like that in like the early 2000s.
It's still going on.
Yeah, but nobody watches that one.
I do.
Ever
Still
since
got Wayne
Jack
Brady on it.
left.
Oh, a little bit of a
I
hip
mean,
check.
Drew Carey
Oh,
is
there's
Drew Carey.
contact!
Oh my god.
Big contact! Daly kind of gets away with it. Hazelworth gets a little bit, as does Mobin Khan.
Brian
Is
Labarge has to
anyone
dive into
damaged?
the grass.
I don't know. I think Nicholas Daly might. Mike Holler up inside the top 5. Good run for Holler. As Brian Molitor and Mike Holler both come around Nicholas Daly. We'll see if we can get a look at that race car and see if there's any damage at the front. Oh yeah, definitely. Right at the tip of the nose, you can see that the paint job, whatever it is, has rubbed off.
And he's going to come down into the pits, try and get that nose cone replaced.
Yeah, Nicholas Daly hitting pit lane. That's a tough break. And guess what?
Carter
the battle
Lundy
for the
with the
lead's
new
still
fastest
ongoing. Yeah, Lundy goes fastest lap, 1:54.516. And he's only 0.2 back off of Teddy B. Nicholas Daly all the way back to the 20th position. Looks like he's actually going to fall back to 23rd position if he is not able to effect a very quick repair on that car. Oh, well, maybe not. Mike Davis has also now gone out of the race. So Mike Davis is out in the 23rd position. Ben Carswell is out in 24th. So now we have the battle for the race lead that is ongoing. We also have this fight between Brian Molitor and Mike Holler. That is for the 4th position. Going on about 5.5 seconds back of 3rd place, Everett Paddock. Couple other fights here as well. Brian Lamarge, Simon Fell, Wes Shire, Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, all fighting. That's going to be 6, 7, 8, and 9. These guys are all pretty well single file. Kind of feel like we have to get the attention back up to the head of the line because Ted Burns has Carter Lundy all over the gearbox of that machine as they get the way into Sunset.
Lundy running a bit of a wider line, going to try and get the run down in the turn number 1. Going to be right on the gearbox, going to try the outside in the turn number 1. Will he go for the crossover? Oh, almost into the gearbox again. Going to take the outside once more.
These guys did see what happened, like in the rear view mirrors, just a couple of minutes or so ago. You're right.
I believe they're ignoring it into Gurney now. Lundy, will he make another gutsy move into the hairpin? Decides to back out of it. Maybe not this time, he says.
Mike Holler coming around Brian Molitor for the 4th position as Lundy's going to have the inside lane. It's tough though, switches you right back to the outside. And James, that's one of the things I love about Sebring. Just because you have the inside lane on one corner, you better get it done there because the odds are it's going to switch you back and you're going to be on the outside, not a couple hundred yards down the road.
These guys, Lundy's going to try and get another dive down the straightaway. He's got a huge run now, side by side. He's got the advantage. Maybe not, but he's going to have the inside line in the Sunset this time.
Going to have the better look at the corner. Burns goes way wide, trying to keep that momentum build up. Keep as much foot down as you can. Drag race to the line. Teddy B by 2/100ths of a second that time. And this is exactly what I was talking about there, Bizzle. Lundy had the line all the way through Sunset. But you get to the end of the straightaway, and now all of a sudden you're on the outside heading into turn 1.
Yeah, if you can stay in it, keep your foot in it on the outside through Sunset, you can make it stick and really get a run down into turn 1.
It'll be cross flags and halfway home this time by. Lundy again looks outside. And this is bringing Everett Paddock back to the party.
Whoa! Or it was.
4-wheel drift out of Carter Lundy right there.
Big wiggle from Paddock, too. That might have lost him the draft.
Yeah, he's back to 1.2 seconds back. What a show Carter Lundy and Ted Burns are putting on at the front of the field here. Brian Molitor making a move, coming back around Mike Holler, so they're going to swap the 4th position again.
Lundy again trying to get the draft down in the Sunset.
Wow, Lundy.
Gonna easily clear him this time.
Well, yeah, but he's going to run a little bit wide, and is that going to open the door for Ted Burns to have the look back to turn number 1?
The door closed.
Yeah, he kind of forces Teddy to get to the outside.
But it allows Teddy to take the look up the inside, but not going to have anything there for him.
It is so much fun watching these guys kind of back a corner up. You can see the guy in front of you start, you can tell he's going to take the corner heavy, you back it up and maximize the corner exit speed, and you're trading track position in, 10 feet at a time, and it's just barely not enough to get the pass made. What a fantastic race this has been.
It's like playing chess at 100 miles an hour as Ted Burns goes to the outside of Carter Lundy now. Not a corner I want to be there. But they keep it together. They're sticking it. And Everett Paddock is right there now.
Yeah, the gap that he gave back up with his big moment has been made back up thanks to Carter Lundy and Ted Burns battling. So now all three cars on the podium in lockstep. Only 3/4 of a second separating first through third. I don't think Lundy's going to have enough of a run to try something into sunset. You're going to get a big toe, but I don't know it's going to be that huge. But he's going to set up the wide run through the corner. Carry all that speed you build up down the straightaway.
And he chooses to dive towards the outside. Backs it up. Is he going to try to cross to the inside? Will he make it stick this time? Yes, he will. They're side by side now entering turn number 2.
Down to 5 to go here at Sebring.
Masterful move. This is not the Carter Lundy we're used to. We're used to 100% balls out Carter Lundy. That was a well thought out and planned move right there.
Burns going to get the
rating
wide.
He wanted to. He was thinking about it.
Oh, full drift for Lundy. Burns not able to take advantage, at least not yet. Nicholas Daly back on the racetrack trying to pick up a couple of points here. The amount of trust you have to have in your fellow competitors is just ridiculous.
It helps that these guys are the top 3 in different orders every single week.
Yeah, like the level of familiarity between these 3 guys is astronomically high. I don't think you're going to try any of these moves around anybody else. Oh.
Let's go on board with Everett Paddock.
I love how much the steering wheel is vibrating. That just shows you how rough this track is, especially right there. Like, this is not a track you want to have a motion rig at.
One thing they don't tell you about this track, won't really simulate in the sim, but this track is covered in sand. Every story I've ever heard about this track. Yeah.
Super low grip and crazy abrasive, too.
Yeah, it's terrible on the tires.
Everyone I know who's gone to Sebring, whether working on a car, sitting in the sands, no matter what, they complain about the amount of sand. It's like everyone that comes here turns into Anakin Skywalker after it's done. It's rough and it's coarse and it gets everywhere.
I'm trying to think of which prequel meme I want to follow that up with.
I'll have to give back my nerd card here, but I watched the
Another
first Star
Happy
Wars and was bored, so I haven't seen any of the others.
I mean, I can't really judge you since, for reasons that don't even make sense to me, the Phantom Menace is my favorite, so I'm not in the... I don't have any room to judge.
It's okay, I'm secretly a prequels fan too.
Thank you.
They're good movies. I'll give you that one.
They are. Like, take out Jar Jar's nonsense, and it's actually not terrible.
You take that back right now. Darth Jar Jar is just like Carter Lundy taking the lead here through Sunset.
I was trying to figure
Misa
out
MP1.
how you two were going to get back on subject. But you pulled it off. Well done, boys. Teddy B back inside of Lundy into one. Oh, Lundy's going to have the great run on corner exit, though. We need a count of unofficial lead changes. Wow, Lundy's still sliding.
There's no way he has any rear tire left on that car, is there?
There's not. He's got to be on the cords at this point.
Slides a little bit through there as well. At what point does Everett Paddock become really impatient here, too? Like, okay, I've watched you two knuckleheads battle. I have better tires. I'm going through.
I give it about a lap.
Approaching Talladega levels of unofficial lead changes. Hanford device era, even. Lundy already setting up the cover on the inside lane. Tries to fade Burns, but it's not going to work. Teddy B back to the point now. Lundy back inside.
Oh.
They're going to drag race to the line with 2 to go. Call it 45 thousandths of a second over the start-finish line. The 4 of Nicholas Daly is 4 laps behind the leaders and will not be a factor in this one. It's only the top 3 in the shot.
Lundy has to jam on the brakes.
That may have been a little bit of right side romance from Ted Burns. Lundy back outside. Not able to slam the door closed. Big moment for Burns. So Lundy holds the top spot for the moment. Just about a lap and a half to go in the C-Class race. So we've got more coming up. The D-Class cars coming up right after this one. What should also be a fantastic show. This has to be tough on Nick Daly. Yeah, in fact, he's just pulling way down to the inside. You want to fight so bad here. Whoa, big wide. That may have been some contact with Lundy. Well, white flag is out, and here comes Paddock. Burns, 4 1,000ths at the line.
Barney waving the flag with more enthusiasm than Tim Cook when they came to America.
Oh! Again, maybe a little right side romance, that time from Carter Lundy on Ted Burns. Oh, they almost touch again!
This is incredible.
They
Oh my
can't
God.
keep doing this. Brian Molitor currently runs in the 4th position. If shenanigans take place that take out your top 3, he would stand to inherit a victory here tonight. Burns back to the race lead. Lundy looks up the inside, nothing there.
We are going to see Paddock make it 3 wide. Hide into sunset. There is no way he doesn't.
Yeah, I would tend to think you've got one shot to shoot. It's go time now. Oh, Lundy's right there. What a shot. Burns going to lock down the inside. Here comes Lundy looking up the middle. Burns tries the Pruitt fade.
Send it, Everett. Oh, boo.
I don't know that he was close enough to, but now out of sunset, final time. Lundy's wide. So is Paddock. Twin checkers in the air. Ted Burns gets the win at Sebring. Carter Lundy comes back to only a 10th and 3/4 at the line. Everett Paddock 9/10 of a second back after he went for a big slide as well. My goodness, what a show.
Holy. Wow. I think if he doesn't have that moment, I think Carter might have got him. In fact, I think Everett might have got them both.
Yeah, that was just wild. Into sunset for that final time. Ted Burns picking up the race win. In 4 starts this season, now 2 wins, 3 top 5 finishes. Has him 15th in the overall points on the strength of those wins. Ted Burns gets the win. While he comes back around, let's take a look and show you your race results. Burns, Lundy, and Paddock make up your podium. Brian Molitor and Mike Holler complete the top 5. 6 through 10, Brian Labarge, Wes Shire, Rod Eskew, Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, and Richard Franco. 11 through 20, Simon Fell, Jason Miller, Nieje Camargo, Joe Heath, Jason Paydu, Joao Rafael Silva Lopez, Keenan Blades, Mobin Khan, Robert Drew, and Aaron Fitzsimmons. Nicholas Daly coming home 21st, Michelle Voles 22nd, Mike Davis 23rd, and Ben Carswell will round out the field here this evening. We'll get ready for our victory lane interviews here. And, well, here, we'll start with Carter Lundy. Carter, an absolutely fantastic drive tonight. Congratulations on the podium finish. Talk us through it, because that was absolutely insane between you and Ted for all 13 laps.
Yeah, it was. I was looking forward to this track for, I don't know, since I joined this league, maybe. I was like, where's Sebring? Come on, where's Sebring? So, we finally got it. It was, I was hoping for a good race. We had a good race. Yeah, it was not tough to pass, but, well, it was tough to pass. It was, you can stay with them in the draft and you can go for a move, but it was tough to make it stick, and there's a lot of places where you can get you back or hold on to it. So it was a really tough battle, and I was thinking for the last few laps, just if I'm on the outside into the last corner, I just gotta send it, and I was just hoping that it would work. So it just ran out of grip out there, just not enough grip, and ran a little bit wide, and he managed to get ahead.
Was that a little bit of a concern? Because, in fact, I think James and Patrick mentioned it during the broadcast, the fact that just there could be no tire left for you and Ted with how hard you were fighting. Was that a burn the stuff up issue, or was that just way too much speed into the final corner?
I wouldn't say it was way too much speed. I just tried getting on the throttle a little bit too early, and there just wasn't enough rubber out there, enough grip out there for the car to stick. So just lost the rear a little bit. But the tires were definitely degrading a little bit towards the end. We were getting a little bit more slidey with our battles, so it was getting a bit tougher to keep the car out of his tires. So I just tried sending it on the outside, and then it didn't just quite. It didn't quite work out.
Well, yeah, a little bit slidey might be understatement of the year, but thank you very much for an absolutely incredible show you guys put on tonight. Carter, before we let you go, make sure you do all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous here, too.
If a little bit slidey is an understatement, then it must look a lot different in the TV camera, or maybe I'm misremembering. But yeah, thanks to you guys. Thanks to everybody again for the broadcast. Looking forward to watching this one back. Thanks to Nagisa and Team Watson Racing for the setups. And yeah, that's just about it. Hopefully we'll see you in the next one. And one more thing. Did you guys catch my slide on the outlap?
Yes.
Yeah, we were making fun of you, Mr. Watson.
That was way too close of a call. I just had the clutch on. I was saving fuel, and I just let it go, and I was like, "Oh shit! I've just taken us both out of the race." But managed to save it. So yeah. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
All right, buddy. Thank you much. We appreciate it. Let's bring in our third place finisher now, Everett Paddock. And I tell you what, Everett, you had a great view of the battle going on in front of you. A couple of times looked like starting to maybe get a little bit impatient. Talk us through the race kind of from your driver's seat, because it was a heck of a show that the three of you put on for us.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know. I felt like a spectator there for most of it. I really couldn't do much. Ted had a lot of downforce, or did not have much downforce, so he had a lot of straightaway speed. Carter had about the same downforce as I did, so I couldn't. And he's just really good on the brakes getting in. So it was all I could do. You know, honestly, if those guys weren't racing so hard, I probably wouldn't have been able to catch them. So I was kind of fortunate to get there. I thought maybe at sunset on the last lap I could maybe slide inside of them, and maybe Carter might slide a little bit more, but I was the one who got sideways. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but I had a pretty good slide that I had to catch, so I just had to stay with third.
Yeah, it was a great show. Actually, Carter went for a little bit of one too. But man, we were on board with you watching it. How difficult is this place to drive with how bumpy it is? Because, I mean, James commented how violently it looked like the wheel was vibrating in your hands.
Yeah, we got a good setup, so the bumps don't bother me too much, except for sunset. Sunset, you can definitely bounce loose there, but the rest of it's not too bad, to be honest with you. You just kind of drive through it. It's not so bad, I don't think.
Well, tougher man than I am then. Everett, congratulations on the podium finish here tonight. Thank you very much for an absolutely amazing show. And before we let you go, do all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, thanks to the National Network for putting on the show tonight. Really appreciate it. Thanks to my teammates, both also working with the downforce guys, working with Ted and Nick today. And it was some bummer for Nick, but always good to race with those guys.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here for a couple of minutes. And now it's time to talk to our race winner. The other half, I guess, of the star of the show. I don't know who you give the award to for best in show. But man alive, Ted, congratulations. This was just 13 laps of haymakers that you and Carter were throwing at each other.
Yeah, for sure. It was it was anytime one of us had a little bit of a run, it was, we were sending up the inside, going side by side. Brought Everett into the battle, but I think he was running a bit higher downforce than us. So it was hard for him to poke out there and get a run on us. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It went inside. I think I went inside and outside into every corner around there, which is pretty awesome. Props to Carter for being able to hold that and be able to do that with them. That was fun.
Yeah, it looked like the show was great. I mean, we were just talking about the bumpiness of the circuit with Everett a little bit, and talking about tire wear with Carter. How was your car late in the race? Because it seemed like both you and Carter were really starting to slide at points.
Yeah, I think it's more just like the fuel burning off, and the car gets so light it just gets thrown by some of the bumps, and so it was just being really careful. A couple of portions where you try and use the bumps, like turn 13, the right-hander coming onto it's not really the back straight, but there's you kind of try and use the compression there, and it was just kind of when you were coming in offline, trying to defend or whatever with Carter, it was sometimes kicking the car a little bit and getting sideways, over a couple of more bumps, or like out of 17, I was real scared on the last lap to get sideways like Everett did coming out of the final corner, because I knew it'd throw the win away there. So it was like open the hands up as much as possible, easy on the throttle. So it was definitely starting to get thrown around a bit at the end there. So it was definitely got a little bit trickier as the race went on, or maybe we were just getting a little bit more aggressive with the throttles and not quite respecting the bumps quite as much. But happy to keep it pointed forward and bring it home P1.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. I've said this to all three of you. Thank you for just an absolutely outstanding show to kick the night off. And before we let you go, make sure you do all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous here too.
Yeah, of course. I got to thank Downforce Racing, especially Everett, doing quite a bit of setup work. He convinced me to throw on quite a bit of downforce before the race, and I'm glad I did. Still had a little bit quicker car than Carter, I think, on the straights, but it had just enough downforce to be able to get it done. And so thanks to Everett and Downforce Racing, Nick out there tonight. Thanks you guys for putting on an awesome broadcast. I love watching it. All my friends and family back at home, and thanks to everyone coming out and racing the series, making it such a blast.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate the kind words from you and coming to hang out with us here for a minute on U.S. Open Wheel week number 8. And, man, I'll tell you what, boys, as we get ready to go to the commercial here, my goodness, James, you were squirreling over there, and you weren't even behind the wheel.
Yeah, they died like a solid 10 times, but didn't somehow. And that's just what you want to see, is a lot of out of control, seeing the guys on your screen just absolutely wheeling their cars. And that's the good thing about Sebring, is that, because of the severe lack of downforce you have just so little grip compared to other places. Couple that with the abrasive surface and all the sand that we were talking about. So they were having to give it their all for that race, and somehow they kept the car pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, it was an absolute blast. And I'll tell you what, Bizzle, I think we could see more of the same, even though we've talked, and it seems like we talk every week about the fact that the differentials being different, the less horsepower that you have in the USF cars. I don't know that it matters. With the talent level we have at the head of these fields, just absolute craziness is what we're going to see coming up here again.
Yeah, usually when the PM18 race is fantastic, the USF race is even better. The less horsepower, the fixed setup, the open differential, all that does is make the racing tighter. And if these guys are running side by side just about the whole race, they're going to do the same damn thing in the USF2000 cars. I frankly cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it in a big way. That'll be coming up in about 5 minutes or so. With that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. You are watching the U.S. Open Wheel doubleheader right here on the National Racing Network.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
Bro, you gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's a white people thing.
Escúchame, en esta casa, los hombres no lloran.
You alright?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
Thanks for hearing me out, bro. Appreciate it.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad. Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Welcome back, everybody, to more live iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where it will be the 11 Cars of Sebring, coming to you from Sebring International Raceway for the USF2000 series. Coming off an absolutely fantastic race in the Indy Pro 2000, the PM18 cars. Now the USF's getting ready to take on Sebring. Once again, my name is Chris Graham, joined in the booth, as always, by Mr. James Watson and Mr. Patrick Byrne. And I'll tell you what here, James, I think colossally disappointed with turnout is a bit of an understatement. But what that means is you're going to have an over 3,000 SOF with, the top 5 all over 4,000 I rating? Okay, game on.
Yeah, like these guys are going to be racing even harder because there's a mountain of points on the haul. And if you could get the win here, that would be huge to any championship hopes. Or at the very least, get you a huge amount of I rating for your troubles.
Yeah, especially if you're some of the drivers towards the back. Several names that we haven't seen before here on the NRN airwaves, but drivers, Bizzle, that are in that, from Ryan Bickle at a 2474 to Amanda Lowney at a 1688 I rating. If somebody at the front has an issue, there is a pile of I rating to be stolen here tonight.
Oh, yeah. So if you're one of those top guys, you definitely don't want to mess up here because, frankly, it could be a very bad day for you. But on the flip side, for some of those drivers that are further back in the field, it could be a really, really fantastic day.
Well, we'll have to see how this all shakes out here, but qualifications just getting underway here in the D-Class. Ted Burns will once again carry the number 1. Carter Lundy will carry the number 2. Aiden Luis Ingrata will carry the number 3 here this evening, followed by Nicholas Daly and Brian Molitor. So several names that we saw running up towards the front of the PM18 race, probably going to be in pretty good contention to be up front here in this one as well. Jason Miller and Adam April not out on the racetrack for their qualification laps just yet. Jason Miller coming out now with 6.5 minutes left in qualifying. And Bizzle, these cars, because they're lacking 100 horsepower, going to be pretty significantly slower around this racetrack and going to run, probably 7 or 8 laps, I would think, just because of the distance that they run. That means that you got to be up on the wheel and kind of on the chip right from the drop here.
Yeah, there's not going to be a lot of time to make the move. So if you qualify poorly, you're going to have to be 100% the entire time. And if you qualify well, you're still going to be at 100% the entire time because the guys behind you sure as hell will be.
Brian Molitor leading the point standings entering tonight's race. He does have 8 weeks scored, sitting on 945 points. Second place, Bruno Vitorino, also with 8 weeks scored, only 15 points back. So this one is going to be a tight battle. And if Bruno is not running in the normal SOF split times, then you sort of get into the weirdness of how many points everybody scores and how many races you run and all that kind of stuff. Nicholas Daly sitting in third on 887, so he's less than 100 points back. Carter Lundy fourth, just over. Excuse me, I started choking on myself. Carter Lundy just over 100 points back in the fourth position. Phrasing. 852 markers is his total. Paul Seiler rounding out the top 5. Guy who's in the Discord is interview reject, Corey Hartz, currently sitting 6th in the championship standings. We'll give Corey a little bit of a shout here as well. Interesting the different sound these cars make. I don't think they're exhausted differently. But I guess the detuning has them sounding a little more weed whacker than lawnmower.
They still have 3 more cylinders than your average weed whacker. Although, frankly, if you need a 4-cylinder weed whacker, you've probably let your property get a little bit overgrown.
Yeah, I don't think you're whacking weeds at that point. You're whacking trees, whacking shrubs.
We are about to go completely off the rails. Ted Burns into sunset on lap number 1 of his qualification run. A lot smoother that time through there than the final lap of the Indy Pro race. Lap time starting to come in, and it will be Ted Burns going quick time. 2 minutes 3.306. Nicholas Daly, well, falls to 3rd as Carter Lundy goes 2:02.779, a full half-second faster than Ted Burns on lap number 1. Carter Lundy is just a pace menace in these cars. Crazy fast. But because of how draft locked this place can be, he's not going to be able to run away with it here tonight. Daly holding on for 3rd, Rod Eskew and Brian Molitor completing your top 5. 0.7 of a second separating the top 3, and then it's 1.3 seconds separating 3rd place Nicholas Daly from 4th place Rod Eskew. One of the things that I really like about running the D-Class car, though, James, is the fact that if I'm that guy, if I'm Rod Eskew in 4th and I'm a second and change off the pace, at the start of the race, I have somebody ahead of me that I can kind of rely on for braking points, and you can really learn from the fast drivers ahead of you in these races if you don't do something dumb and wad yourself up in the first turn. It really provides what the D-Class car is meant to be, a learning opportunity to progress farther up the ranks.
Yeah, and plus, in a race like this, you can actually use that faster car to just tow you along and keep you up into the fray. Like, that's what I like about these draft tracks, is that they allow me to be up where my skill level wouldn't necessarily put me. Like, I've gotten a lot of good finishes and even some wins by hanging on the back of someone that's faster and then just drafting my way past at the last possible moment.
James Watson selling himself colossally short, by the way, as Ted Burns completes his qualification run.
My iRating is overinflated.
Let's see. A 3171 road oval rating and a 5032 oval rating. Yeah. Keep selling yourself short, Judge. You're a tremendous slouch.
I'm alright.
Picking up Jason Miller now in car number 7. Currently running in the 6th position. Carter Lundy improved his fastest lap. 2:02.647. Nicholas Daly picked up a good chunk of time, though, on lap number 2. He's going to be only about 1/3 of a second back of Lundy here in the qualification session. Aiden Luis Ingrata up to the 4th position, only a second back of the race leaders. Amanda Lowney in 5th, and the car we're following here, Jason Miller, in the 6th position, as he's coming around the final corner. We'll see the checkered flag inside of 15 seconds remaining in qualifications, and Jason Miller able to move himself up into position number 5. Looks like that will be the end of qualifying, as the only car that could have completed a lap, Diego Marcel, is sitting on pit lane. So it is time to grid up and get ready to go racing here. in the USF2000 championship. As we're starting to get all the cars out onto the grid, no setup adjustments, no tweaks to be made here, as this is a fixed setup series. But with everybody getting out here onto the grid, we'll get ready and show you tonight's starting lineup. On the pole, driving the number 2 for, is it Sim Center? Sim Racing Center up there in Canada, will be the number 2 of Carter Lundy. To his outside will be the number 4 of Downforce Racing's Nicholas Daly. Row 2, the other of the Downforce Racing cars in this one, that one piloted by Ted Burns. And to his outside will be the number 3 of Aiden Luis Ingrata. Road number 3, Jason Miller in the Penske colors, the PPG Shell V-Power, number 7. And the, well, I don't think I can say the name on the blue side pods. We'll say the Elf Renault of Amanda Lowney.
The Alonso scheme.
The Alonso scheme in position number 6, lining up outside of row number 3. Row 4 will have Ryan Bickel in the players' colors. Somebody's going to carry him, lining up alongside of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, number 6 of Rod Eskew. Row 5 will be points leader Brian Molitor, lining up next to Diego Marcel. And on the final row of the grid, Adam April? We'll say April. Carrying car number 10, the unsponsored machine, will round out our 11-car field here this evening. Carter Lundy nearly binned it on the pace lap last time.
The rest of the field not paving.
No. But not kind of unexpected. Nicholas Daly weaving through the middle of the S's there. That's beautiful. I don't wreck when I do this. Trying to get as much heat in those tires as they possibly can, though, before making the run off to turn number 1. Let's see. Let's go on board with Carter Lundy. I say he was giving us a very nice view inside of the iRacing safety car. There it is. Thank you much, Carter. Appreciate you, buddy. So tonight's race will be 7 laps in distance. Going to take all of about 15 minutes to complete at the 2-minute or so lap times that these drivers were turning in qualifications. And James, this section, really important, because if you screw up this right-hander, you're just going to have absolutely no momentum down the back straightaway and into sunset.
Yeah, and this is going to be a monstrous straightaway in these cars. 100 less horsepower. You're probably going 20 miles an hour slower. But that draft is just going to pull you up, and it's going to be that much more effective.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen here the first time around. I think it's going to be an interesting turn 1, turn 2 complex. A frustrated Nicholas Daly after last race, starting on the front row. I don't know that Carter Lundy's going to give him a shot, but we'll see. By the way, James, check your mic. We may be in the middle of losing you here, but field is off the final corner. Lundy quickly on the gas. Green flag goes in the air. We are underway here once again at Sebring. Almost 3 wide into turn number 1. Lundy able to keep the race lead. Nicholas Daly falls back to the 4th position. Aiden Luis Ingrata able to come past. Here's Ted Burns inside into turn number 3. He'll get the job done.
Whoa.
Almost some contact with Lundy. Lundy almost forced to go into the grass.
Now, this is the fun part where you would see a little bit in the PM18s of kind of pulling up and tucking up under somebody. That's all you're going to see here tonight until somebody pops out to make the big move. Because you can see basically all 11 cars are within 2 seconds of each other. All nose to tail, you're just not going to pull away when the draft is this big.
No, and it's awesome. I mean, look at that. You could literally have the entire field in one train. Like, you could legitimately win this race from last if enough cars die.
Big if, though, when you're talking about Ted Burns and Carter Lundy at the front of the field.
I mean, hey, they were trying the last race. They may end up finishing the job this race. You never know.
It's a fair point. Diego Marcel coming around Ryan Bickle for the 10th position. 11th, Adam April, whatever. Doesn't really matter. Didn't get out onto the grid. As Lundy down inside into Sunset.
Ted Burns possibly able to hold the outside. Let's see what kind of a run he can get. Lundy clears him, but does Ted Burns have enough to just make the move right back? They're going to go side by side once again across the line.
Not enough to get the move done before the start-finish line. That is an important thing to note for just 6 laps or so away from now. As your top 4 are 2x2. Top 7 all still in the main pack. Rod Eskew, Ryan Bickle, and Diego Marcel starting to fall back just a little bit. But still 7 cars in this line with a shot at the win.
Yeah, basically, if you're in this shot right now, you've got a chance at winning this thing.
That includes the 3 that are well to the back a little bit here, too. There's contact! Burns and Lundy make contact! Ingrata comes through, Daly comes through, Lowney comes through!
I told you!
Carter Lundy back to the 6th position. And now it's going to be Aiden Luis Ingrata. Daly trying to hold off Amanda Lowney.
Well, they could only play for so nice for so long. They went through the whole PM18 race with no contact. Doing it 2 races in a row might have been pushing it a little bit.
I called it.
Let's take a look here at the NRN Instant Replay. See what happened with Ted Burns.
Into the hairpin.
Oh, man, it was
Burns
a little
just gets
bobble.
a little bit sideways, and just Lundy ran right into the back of him. Lundy had nowhere to go with how close they were running. Can we get an onboard shot of Lundy's car, or am I being too picky?
No, we can give you that. Let's see.
Oh, I just want to see if there's contact before or after the crash. No, Ted Burns just gets a little sideways and Lundy has nowhere to go. Just close, hard racing incident right there.
How do they not have more damage? That's what I want to know.
And Lundy is already, both of them are already back in this fight, clawing their way through the field.
Yeah, that's insane to me.
So Lundy back up to the 5th position. Burns running in 6th.
Ingrata running away from these guys, though. It might be a race for 2nd place at this point.
Well,
especially with only 5 laps to go.
I say only 5 to go. But, and this is the big but, if Lundy and Burns are able to work their way through this pack quickly, if there were 2 guys that could team up to draft their way to the front, it would be those 2. They've run enough together to know Yeah, it's, I guess, yeah, I agree with you. I don't know that there's enough time to pull that off.
I will say, though, that is the big butt, and I cannot lie.
That's what you got your mic fixed for?
Pretty much, yeah. Gotta give the people what they want.
Oh, man.
Give me a sister. I can't resist her. Again.
There's so many other ways we can take this,
Oh,
but
it's
it's
just
probably
well
best
off
for
the
all of
rails.
us if we don't, yeah.
Brian Molitor having to look on Nicholas Daly for position number 2. Oh, big slide out of Daly.
Whoa.
Wow, he mixed that one a lot.
Aiden Luis Ingrata setting another new fastest lap of the race. But now Nicholas Daly trying to get around Carter Lundy. That move's just not there. Jason Miller starting to catch up out of the 7th position. All 10 cars are still within 6 seconds of each other as we are approaching the halfway point of this race. And Ingrata not even in the top 25 in points here for the D-Class championship, overall championship.
Well, he's going to make a lot of headway into changing that if he holds on to this.
Yeah. With the little bit of shenanigans that have gone on, take a look here. Brian Molitor up 7 from where he qualified, running in the 2nd position. Ingrata up 3, also Lowney up 3. So your podium cars are the only ones that have gained, or at least not lost, positions here tonight. So common in D-Class. Keep the car clean, don't make any mistakes. You'll be in good shape at the end. Unless you have Ted Burns and Carter Lundy and Nick Daly follow you, in which case you may need to step up the game a little bit as Burns comes around Lowney to pick up the 3rd position. As we're now down to 3 laps remaining here in the D-Class race. And again, Ingrata goes new fastest lap. The lead up to 2.7 seconds now.
Incredible.
Oh, and one goes around.
Oh.
That's going to be Lowney. That puts Burns up to 2nd. Brian Molitor drops back to the 3rd position. Carter Lundy now up to 4th. Again, you're not going to make up 3.5 seconds here in 3 laps, but Burns is starting to pull away.
Now, does Ted Burns have enough time to chase down Ingrata?
I don't think so. I mean, the gap is shrinking, but you're going to have to eat a 1.5 seconds a lap to have a shot on the white flag lap. That's a lot of time to ask for. That's asking for a mistake out of your race leader. The gap still sitting at 3.5 seconds. We'll pick up Brian Molitor, Carter Lundy, and Nicholas Daly. Daly going to be on the charge here on Lundy down towards turn number 1. And easily able to come through. Wonder if Lundy doesn't have a little bit of damage from that contact earlier in the race, because he is just not making up anything, especially on outright pace.
Yeah, there's no way he got through that completely scot-free.
Yeah, this is damage control for Lundy. I mean, it's going to be basically finish halfway through the field, hopefully not lose a ton of iRating, definitely not gaining any, but just kind of softening the blow at this point.
Molitor doing a nice job holding on to the 3rd position, keeping Nicholas Daly at bay and not totally losing sight of Ted Burns up ahead. And in what's probably going to be one of the better SOF races of the week. Pretty good points pickup here for Molitor as well. So this time by, white flag is out, 1 lap to go. We'll pick up your race leader, Aiden Luis Ingrata, who again sets a new fastest lap of the race. 2:02.488, the gap now over 4 seconds. Back to second place, Ted Burns. Good drive to keep that car up towards the front of the field early on, and then benefiting from the contact between Burns and Lundy. Trouble for Diego Marcel having an off track. So now just a couple of more quarters to go for Ingrata. Really seeing him kind of shift that car around, almost go-karting it through that section.
Yeah, just flicking the beast around.
Lead now up over 5 seconds. An absolute smackdown on the field tonight by Aiden Luis Ingrata. He'll come over the start-finish line and claim the win here at Sebring. Ted Burns comes home second. Brian Molitor finishes third. And just to complete the whooping there, Ingrata, another new fastest lap of the race on the event's final circuit. All the drivers now over the start-finish line, and we can show you your final race results. Aiden Luis Ingrata by 5.5 seconds over Ted Burns. Brian Molitor only about 0.2 back at the line. He comes home in the third position. Nicholas Daly and Carter Lundy round out your top 5. 6 through 10 tonight, Jason Miller, Rod Eskew, Ryan Bickle, Amanda Lowney, and Diego Marcel. So we'll take a look. I'm not sure if we're going to get Ted Burns for an interview tonight or not. I don't think we have Brian Molitor in the Discord. And positive we don't have Aiden Luis Ingrata in here either. So we'll take a look and see if anybody is going to come hang out. But as we kind of wait on our podium finishers here, I'll tell you what, James, not often we see Ted Burns get beat by 5.5 seconds.
Yeah, this was a beatdown that none of us were expecting at all. It was a incredible drive. Just put a hurting on the top guys in the series.
Yeah, and Bizzle, that's one of those deals that sometimes you have to be the beneficiary and be there to take advantage. That's exactly what Ingrata did. We were seeing a great early battle once again between Carter Lundy and Ted Burns. Ultimately, not really working out for either one of them. Burns able to recover a little bit better than Lundy was, but at some point, those guys could not run that close to each other for that long without contact getting made.
Yeah, if I'm Ingrata, I'd rather be lucky than good. And he showed he was not only lucky, but he was very good. He got the lead, took advantage, and ran away with it. But yeah, Lundy and Burns, they ran basically one full race side by side the entire time, inches apart, and tried doing it again this time. But you play with fire, eventually you're going to get burned.
Yeah, and it was a good show all around both ways here in the U.S. Open Wheel doubleheader tonight for the USF2000 cars, and quite frankly, one of the best shows we've ever put on the air for the Indy Pro race in the U.S. Open Wheel C-Class. And we're going to have a whole bunch coming up here next week as well. The Silver Crowns head off to Motegi Monday night, 9:45 p.m. in the East to kick off week number 9. Then we head off Wednesday night to the Sim Racers Club at Pocono Raceway, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That will be round number 10 of their 12-round summer series. Final race before the week off, and then a 2-race stretch to close out that season. And finally, on Thursday night, it'll be Bizzle in the booth. Bizzle and Watson, the A- team, handling the call next week from Interlagos for the U.S. Open Wheel doubleheader. Don't see anybody that's popped into the interview booth, so I think that's where we're going to wrap things up here for tonight. It has been a fantastic show, as always, and we got to say a huge thank you to all of our channel members on YouTube, everybody that sends over super chats and all that kind of stuff as well. We really appreciate all your support, and we thank you all for tuning in and week out with us as well. For Patrick Byrne and James Watson and everybody here at the National Racing Network that makes these shows happen and get on the air, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us, and we will talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.